the luckiest people in life are the most hardworking people in life. Because we work hard, you get the breaks. If I can make someone smile, someone feel good, someone feel like, yeah, I want to be a reporter, I want to be a journalist, I want to do a podcast. That's a win for me, man. We're Channel 4 News. We're not a boxing or a sports channel, right? So our viewers aren't really die-hard boxing heads. Do we discuss the fact that Conor Benn has spoken out about the fact that he has seen a therapist? That's interesting to our viewers, especially for a boxer. Wouldn't have thought a boxer sees a therapist. Do we discuss a very live news issue of toxic masculinity?
How do you balance everything in your life and remain as humble as you are while not even drinking anything like alcohol? Bro, like, that's what I'm saying.
How do you do this sober?
Yeah, how do you do this sober?
Hello everyone and welcome to the Dan Talks podcast. We're back again, and today, ladies and gents, I have two individuals with me on this episode who, the first one I'm going to introduce to you, you guys have seen on this channel multiple times now. He's been my best friend since I was young, and we started this content creation together back in COVID days, and he is someone who motivates me every single day to be a better person. Ladies and gents, it's George, aka The Blessing.
Oh, that was a beautiful. Start tearing up. Oh, that was beautiful. Thanks, man.
That's all right.
You motivate me too, man.
Oh,
we do this together. This is why we do this, so we can do this together.
100%.
That was beautiful. Thank you for that.
Anytime, man. We started from where we started on Zoom calls and doing all of that.
That was messy, yeah.
Yeah. And now we're in this studio. So it's a testament to both of us.
Yes.
But George, today,
who are we with?
I'm going to read from my phone for this speech. I've prepared a whole monologue of a speech.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Okay.
I hope you're ready.
This is going to be an intro.
Comfortable.
I am beyond excited to introduce to you guys this guest to the podcast. He is someone who has not only redefined sports broadcasting, he's been a voice for change, representation, and authenticity in the media. He's a very decorated sports journalist, being the face of Channel 4's sports coverage, a former wheelchair basketball player, a podcaster, a media entrepreneur, and the founder of the brilliant platform Blackademic. You've probably seen him interviewing the likes of Anthony Joshua, Usain Bolt, most recently Chris Eubank Jr. and Conor Benn. But beyond all these accolades, he's someone who's used his platform to inspire the next generation. He's been a DJ for over 15 years, and just to add to the list, he's also my uni lecturer. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the podcast, the one and only Jordan Jarrett-Bryan.
Let's go. Welcome.
Wow. Thank you very much.
Wow.
That was a lovely introduction. All facts, all facts.
Yeah, all facts. Just tick them off. Yeah.
That was very kind of you. Thank you very much. But before we get any further, blessings?
The blessing.
The blessing.
The blessing.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that.
That's we're blessed. Every day is a blessing.
Give us a little reason. Go on, why are you called The Blessing?
If I ask you right now, how are you today? You probably go, yeah, I'm good. How are you? That's a nice response. Or some people go, yeah, I'm all right. I'm okay. I just think that is an awful response from the get-go, right? So I like to say, I'm blessed, because then it's a nicer way to say that I'm feeling good today. It's a nicer way of saying I'm grateful to be here today. Mm-hmm. And I just don't know. I've always said it. And I think it's also, for me, it's like a self-positive message. So like I hear myself saying I'm blessed. I go, yeah, you know what? It doesn't matter about today, because I know that I'm blessed, and it always sets my day up quite nicely.
See, what I like about that is I have a similar approach to, I'm practicing gratitude and have been for about 6 months. So when people say, oh, I'm grateful, gratitude for me is an action, not just something you say. Mm. So when I practice gratitude, it's reminding myself that, you know, today might not have been the greatest day. I might have lost my phone. I might have had an argument with someone at work. My family might be ill, but actually, you know, I've got a home to go home to. I've got a home to go to. I've got £2 in my pocket.
Yeah.
I've got my freedom, got great friends. I've got a great job. And that is gratitude. So it's not just something you just say, I'm grateful for. It's like actually reaffirming. It's a practice. Like I remind myself constantly that I am grateful and I'm lucky to have things I have. So anyway, I only mentioned that because it sounds like you use blessing in the same way. It's not just a throwaway response.
No.
It's a reminder to yourself that actually I am blessed. And no matter what happens today, good or bad, I'm still going to be blessed. So I like that. I like that.
Thank you.
I like that.
It's also for other people too. So I feel like if sometimes they might not be having the best day, I'm not saying necessarily me saying that is going to create the greatest day, but they might then reflect on themselves and look inside and go, I'm also blessed. I'm also breathing. I can see my family. I've got a roof over my head. Like I'm blessed too.
Yeah.
And I think if you say at the start of your day, it kind of, like you were saying, it kind of sets yourself up to be like, right, no matter what, I'm blessed. Everything's good. So thank you. I appreciate that.
No, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
George, do you know what? I'll just say it now to you, but like, we've obviously grown up a long time together, right? And we've seen each other transition from different periods in life, when we're down, when we're high, all the positives and negatives, right? You transitioning into this, the blessing, actually has motivated me to do the same. And it's genuinely so true, because I went through a very down period when my dad passed away, and there wasn't many things that I was actually very grateful. Like at the time, I felt like this probably still is the worst thing ever, but I felt very not grateful. I was down in the dumps, and then something so simple like that actually made me kind of just sit back and just appreciate things and just go, yeah, I am grateful. I'm grateful for where I live, my friends, my family, everything around me, my dog. Like I'm grateful for every little tiny thing possible. And I think you've helped me get to that spot.
When you start listing all the things that you have in your life, you actually like literally write them all down. You then realize you've got a lot. Now that doesn't mean you shouldn't be ambitious for more. That doesn't mean you shouldn't want more. Don't settle on your laurels and just accept I've got these great things. No, you can have more. I earn this figure, cool. I want to earn more. That's fine. But as a base level, if you just write down all the things in your life that if they were no longer there, you would be less sad. So I'm sorry to hear about your father passing. My parents are still alive. If my dad was no longer here, that would be one thing in my life that I would be, I wouldn't say weaker for, but I would be, what's the word? A journalist. I would be, it would affect my life negatively to have that person taken away.
Yeah.
But I have a mother, I have a father, and beyond that, I have a good relationship with my parents. Some people have their parents alive, but they don't know them or talk to them. I have a brother, I have a friend, I have a good job lecturing, I have a good job writing. I have all these things. You writing them all down, and most people will get past 5. And if you've got past 5, I've got much more than 5. I'm fortunate in that sense. But if you get to 5 at least, you've got 5 things in your life. I've got a home, not got a great job, but I've got a decent job, pays my bills. I've got a great sister. I don't, but somebody could say that. I've got a car, and I have my freedom. I can do what I want. I can leave the studio because no one can stop me. That's a blessing to have. Freedom. Let's not underestimate. Some people can't just leave their house. No. Some people can't just go across to a different part of town. We can go wherever we want. Don't underestimate that. There's 5 things already that, grateful for. Anyway, I've taken it on a really deep path.
Amen
So
to
this
that,
is
bro.
not really for that, but you triggered me, so it's your fault.
Sorry about that. Sorry about that.
This is what happens though. Like when you're just chatting with the boys, like sometimes it's good to just, and I think men especially, they don't do that enough. And just chat about like how they actually are and how life's going. And I feel like with women, like you go in and you sit around, have a cup of tea, and then you just say everything about anything, right? But as men, I do feel like it's a bit harder to do that. And I feel like in the last few years, me personally, I'm starting to get a lot better at just being honest.
It's only as hard as we make it.
Yeah.
It's only hard because we make it hard by just not being vulnerable and saying, hey, George, I'm sad today, or I'm really upset that my partner left me, or I lost my job, or my auntie's got an illness. We don't do that. We just get through it. No, but it's only hard because we make it hard.
Do you know, I've got a little theory of that too. And it's I call it the backpack theory, right? I believe that everyone is carrying this backpack and you can fill it up as much as you want, like with whatever you want, right? So let's say you've got sad emotions in there, you've got memories, you've got happy emotions, blessings, all of that what you just spoke about, right? It's up to you what you choose to carry. So if you carry that sadness, those burdens, those things that have like traumas or whatever, that is up to you what you carry. And what I mean by that is if you're only carrying them because you're not speaking about them, you're not getting them out of the bag, you're not letting them go. And then all of a sudden when you start speaking, you're like, oh, you know what, I feel a lot better. Yeah, it feels a lot lighter, you know? And I definitely agree with the men thing is, which we're all getting better at. And I think there's a lot more eyes on the situation. It's good that everyone's talking more. And I do believe that you become more of like I don't like the persona, but more of a man when you're vulnerable and when you can express your emotions. So every man out there should be talking. We should all, and we should also look after each other. We should be able to speak to the random person on the street, Steve, that wants to open it up a little bit. And you should stand there and listen. But I think nowadays people are in too much of a rush, too busy to speak to someone because the littlest chat can go a long way, you know?
Yeah.
But that backpack theory I've always used and I've always tried to spread.
It's a good one.
Copyright. No, but do it, man. Like, make that bag light because then it's a lot easier to go through life.
How would you do that? Let's say you've got so many things in your backpack. How do you start unpacking it all when you've got so much in there? And you feel like, what I felt like for a long time was that because I've got so much, I don't want to put that burden on other people and give them unnecessary baggage to carry when, like you said, everyone's got busy lives, everyone's doing their own thing. Like, how do you go about that?
Sorry, I didn't answer that, but that in itself is part of the problem. And we all do it. We don't want to, men more so, burden somebody else with our problem. And whilst there's some validity in that, because we've all got issues going on, and we all know what it's like when we've got something going on and someone comes to you with something that's like also deeply like, oh, I really want to help you, but I've got, you know, my kid's not well, or I just lost my job, so I can't really process your issue because I'm trying to do mine. But I think we have to give people opportunity to say that. So if I have a problem, I need to be able to say to you, I've got this problem, this is how I feel, it's affecting me. And if you say to me, Jordan, you know what, I'm not in a great place at the moment, I really want to help, but it's just a bad time, then I can be like, cool, at least you had the reverence or the honesty to kind of respond to that. But I have to at least give you the chance to respond, because I can't not tell you my problem for fear of you telling me and rejecting me, essentially. I've got to tell you and let you tell me if you can or can't help me with that scenario. We can't just keep it boxed in because we're fearful of, oh, but what if Dan doesn't want me to, what if Dan rejects? No, we just got to let Dan tell Jordan that I can or can't help with that. Do you know what I mean? I think the more we do that, yeah, you leave yourself vulnerable. It means you have to open up and be prepared for Dan to say, Jordan, I've got some stuff going on myself right now, I can't do that. Fine. That's cool, but at least give the other person the opportunity to let them tell you if it's a burden or not, rather than assuming it's going to be a burden. Do you know what I mean?
Every time you speak to someone, it's not necessarily going to be a burden anyway. No. Some people might even be like, "Oh, I've been through the exact same thing. I can help you," or just even speaking, and then you both go, "Oh, okay, at least I understand about you more now." Or especially in like relationships, for example, like communication's everything, right? The more you let out and the more you tell someone, the more they know about you. So it's not necessarily you're spreading, oh, I've had all this, take that. It's like, right, I need to speak. Please listen. If you can help in any way, thank you. If not, at least I was able to release it a little bit more. But that's a good point. I mean, to start with the backpack, just start. Just start talking, or even before the talking, start thinking and looking within and go, right, what do I need to get rid of this backpack? Or what's bringing me down? What is the burdens in life that is stopping me from excelling further? It could be the littlest thing. Right, today I need to eat a bit cleaner. Today I need to go for a walk. Today I need to drink water. Start with the very, very, very minimalistic stuff. And then you might go, right, I've done this. Tomorrow I'm going to chat about my problems. If that doesn't work, then you go professional. There's so many ways to do it. You just need to start. And if you don't start, you'll never empty that backpack.
Yeah.
Damn.
No,
we got deep there. That's good to start off with. I like that. Here we are.
I respect it. I respect it because it's real talk as well. Like,
yeah,
it's stuff that's happening in life, and just got to get it out sometimes. Just chat about it.
I'm not very funny, so I have a tendency to just like drag everything down to serious deepness. So it's my default.
No, but
Sorry.
No, you're good.
I also think like this is what
we're about, man.
This is what we're
We
about.
love this stuff.
When we first started doing videos back in the day together, just chatting, it was like I told you earlier, it was during COVID, and it was during the time where everything was uncertain and lockdowns, and we were just talking about how we were feeling.
Yeah.
We've been locked inside. This is weird.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And that for me was such a good way to just get out, let go of some things in that backpack.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
We used to say that even after like episodes and be like, I'm so glad I chatted about this because I felt so rough going on to this podcast or video or whatever we were doing. And then now I feel, all right, I'm happy again now. I'm ready to edit this. I'm excited to get this out. Like, and you know, we had a few people come to us and be like, it was good to hear you guys chatting about that because X, Y, and Z, I went through this as well, you know?
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
But no, it's good. Which we've definitely seen on your sort of content. We like the more real conversations. We like get into the deeper stuff and like digging it out. I much prefer that.
Yeah, because I think my content reflects me in that, you know, 1 minute I'm just talking nonsense about Arsenal being Paris Saint-Germain tomorrow in the football, and then the next clip is we had a chat on one of my podcasts last week about the impact of Chris Eubank Sr. and Nigel Benn and the hugs they had after their fight, after their sons had their fight. And we kind of just unpacked why that was significant, especially as black men as well, who I think for men, as you mentioned earlier on, vulnerability and, you know, sensitivity is seen as a little bit, we're getting better at it, but it's seen as still as a bit of a no-no. But in the black male community, it's even times 10, like just hugging your son, telling your son, well done. And the real juxtapositions of the two hugs were very poignant and very pertinent to me. You have one hug that was a, well done, son, you did it. I'm really proud of you. And then you had another hug that signified, unlucky son, don't worry, I still love you. Do you know what I mean? We'll go again. And both had different messages, but equal impact or importance, which essentially was, son, I'm here for you. Whether you lost or whether you won the fight, it doesn't matter. The hug said, I'm here for you. In this moment, in victory or defeat, I'm here for you. And you know, we did lots of boxing content around the fight itself for boxing fans, but I like to explore those themes as well, because that's something that a lot of people wouldn't have really picked up on. Why seeing these four men hugging not each other, but the dads hugging their sons, why that was a powerful image. I think it was a powerful image for men, just seeing two men, and again the kind of juxtaposition of seeing so much sensitivity in an environment of aggression.
Yeah.
This wasn't athletics or football or gymnastics. This was a combat sport where it's all about aggression and punching and blood and anger and winning and living and dying. But in amongst all of that, in a baying gladiatorial arena of people baying for blood, you've got these two shining lights of sensitivity. And you know, masculinity doesn't have to always be about strength. That was masculinity for me in a way that was equally masculine. It was vulnerability. It was, I don't care who's watching. I don't care what people think. You're my son. I want to hug you.
Boxing is such a good sport, I believe, to help young guys especially. And it really, once you've shared the ring with someone and you've got such hatred for one another, and you go through a war like they literally did the other weekend, you do come out the other side and you're like, oh, whether they want to admit it or not, they will have respect for each other now. Chris Eubank Sr.'s trainer, Ronnie Davis, is literally a regular at my pub. So I've seen him multiple times. And when my dad was around, he used to tell me about Ronnie and the training and everything like that. And all the regulars tell me about Seniors training, Ronnie, how he trains them, Eubank trying to then go and be a professional. And it kind of broke my heart when I saw their relationship fall apart over the years. It really did. And I don't know if it was planned. I hope it wasn't planned, the whole reconciliation.
I don't know for sure, but I don't think it was planned.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it was a kind of like I think even if Chris Eubank Sr. always knew he was going to come.
Yeah.
I don't think he told anybody.
Okay.
I don't think he told anybody. I think in his head he always had it as I was always going to be there.
Yeah.
But I don't think it was coordinated. Like, right, who's the promoter? Ben Shalom. Right, I'm going to be there this time. Miss the card. I don't think it was coordinated like that. I don't know for sure.
I hope. My heart
agree.
believes that it wasn't.
I agree.
planned.
I'm
Like
with
it
you as
wasn't.
well on that one. Yeah.
Yeah, because obviously you've interviewed both of them before that fight, which insane, by the way. You kind of that's kind of my dream job. I can't lie.
You can have it. You can have it. There's room for more.
Got a long way to go, but we're working towards it. But what was that whole process like, interviewing both of them? You obviously flew out to see Conor Benn.
Quality team, yeah.
And did you stay there?
We were there for 2 nights. Yeah.
2 nights.
Yeah.
What was that process like, as interviewing both of them in the build-up to one of the biggest fights in a long time?
Yeah,
No, for sure. Well, I first of all got to big up my producer, Hila May, who got us the access. She was the one that set it all up. I mean, if I'm being really honest, she did all the work. I'm just a pretty face that kind of did the interview. She did all the work. No, she set it up and got the access and got back to me and said, yeah, they said that. It's funny because she said to me, Conor Benny's team, they train in Mallorca. Mallorca? Mallorca. And they've said, look, if we could get out there, we can get some exclusive access with him. So I was like, yeah, but our desk aren't going to send us. They're not going to send us out there. But like, just ask, go ahead of foreign and see what he says. And then she got back, she was like, yeah, he's up for it. I was like, oh, great.
Yeah, let's go.
That was a surprise. So then once we kind of got the green light to go, we then started planning what our approach was going to be. We need to know like the details and logistics. So in the interview, there's a sequence where you see him running up the steps. That was at 4 a.m. So they're at these camper like, right, if you can, you don't have to be there, but if you want, we'll give you access to us and the BBC were there. You can have exclusive, 2 of us, but exclusive access to like him training in the morning. It means you've got to be there at 3:30 actually in the morning, but it'll be great access, and we got some great shots of it. So I'm glad that we did it. So we were planning that. How do we want that to look? Where does that fit in the interview? We had some more access at his gym. We had a sit down with him at his house, and it was just working out. I was saying to the guys in class earlier on, we had to plan out what we thought were the key elements of that interview, what we thought was of most interest to our viewers. Now, bearing in mind, we're Channel 4 News. We're not a boxing or a sports channel, right? So our viewers aren't really die-hard boxing heads. So the questions that you might hear asked or should be asked on BBC Sports, the guy after me, his questions would have been different to my questions because his audience are a boxing audience. They're sports fans. Our audience aren't. So we're a news program. So we touched on, in prep, we were preparing the questions and we were like, right, we always start with the sport. So when we have a movie star on or an activist or a sports person or a comedian, you always start with the thing they're good at, right? Because one, it makes them feel more comfortable, but also it feels just polite. So if you've got a new film coming out or if you've got a new album coming out, we're not going to spend the whole interview chatting about your album or your new film, but we'll start with it. So the new film coming out, tell us about the film. Yeah.
And then move on.
And then we'll move on.
Yeah.
And publicists and PRs and agents, they kind of know that. As long as they get the plug for their album or the plug for their film, they're kind of happy. They realise that, But then we established, right, we want a few questions about the fight. The first question was, right, why are you doing, to both of them, why are you doing this fight? Like, there's no belt on the line here. I know Conor Benn's undefeated, but there's no real record of no up for grabs here. There are different weight categories. When this should have happened 2 years ago, before the first time this fight should have happened 2.5 years ago, let's be honest, there wasn't no hatred between you guys. You didn't hate each other. It's been manufactured a little bit. So why? But that got us into the fight. That got us into how much they dislike each other. So you kind of got your fight questions out the way. Cool. So we're rocking and rolling. They're warmed up. But then we were discussing in our prep meeting, okay, do we discuss the failed drugs test? Do we discuss a very live news issue of toxic masculinity? Do we discuss the fact that Conor Benn has spoken out about the fact that he has seen a therapist? That's interesting to our viewers, especially for a boxer. You wouldn't have thought a boxer sees a therapist. Eubank Jr., let's discuss the themes of grief. He lost a brother 2 years ago. that's interesting to our viewers. So all these things we kind of planned together. We knew we only had a certain amount of time. So like, right, okay, if we can ask all these things, it'll be amazing, but we ain't got time. So we've got to prioritize. And I always have like a bit in my notepad where I'm like, right, these are the must ask questions. And if there's time, these are the 3 or 4 that I'd like to ask on top. And yeah, we went out to see Conor and his family, met his dad, met his whole team. They were all there. They were lovely. I've got to big them up. They were very accommodating, cooperative. We had pretty much full access to him for that 2 days. He was cool. And then when we got back, it was like planning the Eubank one, which we had slightly less time with. But we got him at his gym in South London. And he was interesting in a different way. But it made for a good interview. It made for a good TV, I think. And it was a lot of fun. And then to have the fight kind of match the hype. It's very rare I feel the fights match the hype. It was just, I was there. And I'm not a massive boxing head, right? So I'm not a caveat with that. I'm not, boxing's not one of my favourite sports. But I wanted to be there. One, because we've done a lot of work in the build up to it. I thought, you know what, we should be there and see this through. But also, I was a bit like this. I had an inkling. My kind of spidey senses went off and thought, this could be an interesting night. And I couldn't put my finger on why. And in the morning, so that day of the fight, we had to go to the stadium. We were on air at 5 o'clock, I think, or 4:30. And my boss said to me, right, go down there, do what we call an as live. Do you know what an as live is?
No.
It's basically, it's not a live, it's a recorded piece of camera. So just behind me here, Tottenham Hotspur Stadium tonight, there'll be X, it'll be that'll be a live.
Yeah.
But we record it and then it goes out live on the program. So when you're watching it, it feels live, but it's not live. And if you know it's on the news, you know when it's live or not live, because there'll be a live bug in the top right corner. So you know what you're seeing. That's live. That's happening right now.
I didn't even know that.
If there's no live bug in the corner, it's been pre-recorded.
Oh.
So it's called an as live.
Which one do you
Piece of
prefer?
camera.
Pre-recorded or
You know what? I actually prefer lives.
Really?
Yeah, and I'm in the minority because
pressure.
And here's the joke. Doing the as live, we took about 19 takes. 19 takes. If that was live, I'd have nailed it.
Boom, straight
I'd have nailed it. I'd have nailed it. So I prefer lives. And if you do mess up on a live, there's a level of sympathy you get because people are like, you know what?
He's live.
It's live. It's fine.
Yeah,
no one talks perfectly.
No.
You might stumble on a word. You might forget something. It's live. It's fine.
In a way, that can make it more real too. Because and it's natural. You can make a little joke. You go, if you start, you go, okay. So anyway, I didn't want to say that.
But we're humans. This is real TV. The reason why we couldn't do it live was because by the time we got to airtime, our hit time was 5:30. I think maybe 5:25. By that point, the stadium outside was rammed, and where we were filming across the road from the stadium, there's chicken shops there is rammed. You just need one idiot to be like, you know what I mean? So it was like, you know what? Just let's get there at 2, record it at 3, send it back, and it's fine.
Yeah.
So sorry, I got distracted. My point was going to be that we got there early, but I had a feeling something was going to. I said to my crew, I said to my camera guy Deborah and my producer Hila, I said it would be sick if Conor Benn comes out, because Conor Benn always moves with like his whole family. You know? He's got a big team, and he always comes out with like 15 people. Like, and I like that. Like, I'm here. This is my team and family. Yeah, we move deep. We're rolling deep. Yeah, who wants to mess with me? Because you got to mess with me. You got 20 people here. Like, he comes out 20 man deep. Great. I said, wouldn't it be sick if Chris Eubank Jr. came out by himself, and then just from behind him, you saw his dad just emerge. I'm like, that would be so sick.
Unreal, you know.
We're like, nah, it won't happen. Fast forward a few hours, we're in the stadium now. The first card has started at 5:30. And in the stadium, there's a press bit where you can eat. So we're eating, and then there's a big screen. So that's this wall, big screen with the sport on. So we're not in, we've been in the stadium, but we're just eating. But we're watching the fight that's happening. It was about an hour later, about 6:30, that, you know what happened? There was a camera guy from IFL TV.
Yeah.
Ran through the room. Like, no, people don't run normally. Like, what's this guy running for? You're an idiot. Just ran through, then ran back. I was like, what's wrong with this fool? A minute later, on the screen, we saw Chris Eubank come out the car. The whole place erupted.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, that's why I was running.
He was running.
He goes to the car park. Yeah, to get the shot. It makes sense now. because obviously he must have got tipped off that he was in the building, and it just felt like a moment. I'm not a massive boxing fan, but I love sport and I love stories, and the fight on top of that was a good fight as well, but there was a story. And I just felt like this is one of that would probably be one of the most iconic British sporting moments, I think, in history.
100%.
It's up there.
It's got to be.
Him coming out of that car and then walking through, out the lift and walking through, and you see Junior trying his hardest to not smile, but the smirk was bursting out. The smirk that said, yeah, that's it.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, I've got everyone I need right
Don't
now.
worry. And then what made it even better was the shot where they're in the Benn dressing room and they're watching at it.
Yeah, I saw that.
Gold.
Mental.
Absolute
mental.
gold.
What made that so good was they're both just standing so still,
Yes.
looking at the entrance.
Because they knew.
They
knew.
knew.
I said to my producer, Hila, I said, I had Eubank winning the fight before this. I said, now Ben's in trouble.
Yeah.
And to be fair, it went the distance. So I thought it would be a quicker fight. I thought you'd take him out. So Ben surprised me, to be fair to Ben. But I was like, that psychologically is going to be a blow.
A
really big blow.
yeah.
You've just seen that. You're getting ready in the changing room.
Yeah. Who's that behind him? Oh no.
And it was a great night, a great occasion. And I was just, even though I'm not a big boxing fan, I'm a sports fan, and I'm a fan of stories. And that was a story. And I was lucky and blessed. Blessed to have been there, to have felt that.
Yeah.
Imagine at home it would have been like electrifying, but to be in the arena when it was
different. I was watching it while I was working. So I was working at my bar, and I had it on the screen in the other room, and I was watching it while trying to pour pints. It was absolutely class. Do you think your interview beforehand with Conor Benn, Nigel Benn, where Nigel was kind of talking straight to the camera, and he's basically...
Yes. It's because of me that he turned up on the night. It's all my work.
Yeah, there you go, done. End of question.
I tweeted that as well. Actually. I was like, you know what? I don't want to brag, but before my interview, he wasn't coming. After the interview, he turns up. Just saying. Just saying. No, if I'm being honest, because, like I said before, I think Senior was always coming.
Yeah.
So I think even before I did the interviews, I think Senior, and he said he was always coming. The reason why I did say even before that day, I said to my producer when we were doing the Eubank interview, I said to her, in a way, I hope he doesn't come, because Chris Eubank Senior kind of prides himself on the fact that he's a man of his word. He's a man of integrity. He's a man of principle. I'm telling you, this fight is dangerous. I've had first-hand experience of when boxing goes wrong. The Michael Watson fight, Nigel Benn had the fight with, you'll know this, what's the guy who got brain damage, forgotten his name. But
Eubank had had a fight with
Nick Blackwell?
Yeah,
Blackwell?
something like that.
I should know that. Yeah. But Nigel Benn also had a fight with somebody back in the day and got brain damage. But the point I'm making is that this is a man that knows firsthand when, it's a dangerous sport anyway, but the two different weights, he died on the hill of this fight. He said attempted murder. He said, this is attempted murder of my son. And as a guy that's lost a son already, I believe that he wouldn't turn up. Because this is a guy that, despite his son needing him, out of principle, he ain't going to be there. He ain't going to be there. So I was a bit like, I kind of hope he doesn't come. Because if he does turn up, yes, the narrative is, that's his son. He's going to be there for his son. You can't leave his son by himself. But then the other side is, but so all that stuff he said about the danger of the sport, was that all just all fluff?
Promo,
do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think he was always going to be there.
Yeah.
And I'd like to think, for my ego, that he did see the interview and thought, yeah, I'll be there.
Run with it. I reckon just run with that. Yeah.
It's all like start again. Right. He saw the interview. I was like, oh man, I've got to be there.
I've got to.
I've got to pull up.
I've
got to pull up now, man.
One of the best fights I've ever seen.
I think it was a good fight. I didn't think.
Did you not?
Quality-wise, it wasn't a good fight. I thought it was an enthralling fight. It was an engaging fight. It was a fight that you couldn't take your eyes off. Well, actually, you are the boxing guys. Let me ask you. from a boxing point of view, did you think it was a good fight? Be honest, if you think you did,
I'll say
it was a slugfest for me.
because of
Respectfully.
I don't know if you saw any of the fights on the last weekend where you had Canelo fighting,
Yes.
you had Devin Haney fighting, you had Ryan Garcia fighting. Those 3 fights have gone down in the top 5 worst fights for the amount of punches thrown. They've been the least
Mental.
punches thrown in those 3 fights out of the top 5 least. And when you go from a slugfest, like it kind of was a back and forth, no shits given, they're just going at each other the week before, to then seeing something like that from supposed champions in their weight class, I sit back and as a fan, I'm like, I'm going to back that, say that's the best fight I've ever seen.
But just because something's crap doesn't mean that other thing's good.
I guess it depends on what you're looking for.
And again, I'm talking like I'm an expert and you're the expert, so I'm just listening to you.
Wow.
But it just felt like this was a fight that was more about heart.
Yeah.
It was more about will. My respect for them,
I think it was.
refusing to go down, went up tenfold. But as a kind of boxing masterclass, don't know.
Yeah, I mean, you had earlier on in the card Vidal Riley, and I'd say his performance was a boxing masterclass. It was the sweet science, quote unquote, that hit and don't get hit. And even on commentary, they kind of referred to him as Muhammad Ali-esque at the time. I can't lie, which is a massive compliment for him. But you go from that performance where it's hit and don't get hit, compared to someone fighting for
just swing.
Swing. But also
One's got to land.
But facts. But also they're fighting for their families, themselves.
So much pressure.
Just the whole narrative, the whole story. And for me, I just got so captivated in the story, and they sold it well.
They put on a show. They put on a show. I would never diminish the you know, I didn't pay to go because I got press tickets. But had I paid. Sorry. It's just like, I'm putting the word to be fair. Please give me a ticket. You know what I mean? But had I paid for that night, I would have definitely felt like I'd have got a money's worth. And in terms of a spectacle, it was fight of the year. Fight of the year. And I think it probably crosses beyond boxing. If you were to rank at the end of the year the top 3 sports moments of the year, that's arguably in there at the moment.
Up there for sure.
You know what I mean? Rory McIlroy winning the Masters, 100%. Probably in there as well. But that from a kind of like my days, I just felt it lacked a little bit of. But then again, maybe it wasn't about a boxing master. Maybe it was about
the story.
Yeah,
it's probably that, isn't it? Yeah,
I think it really was, to be honest.
Which is fine. Fair play to both. I respect both fighters highly because there was a will of I ain't going down. My eyes bust. I've got a cracked ribs. You know, I'm knackered. Cardio's out the window. I'm finished. But I'm not going down. And that will that you can't knock me down. Both of them, I was like, nah, ratings, big ratings.
100%.
Speaking of people that can't get knocked down, yourself.
Nice segue that,
right?
Yeah.
We see you do so much, and when I mean so much, I've never seen so much work being done for someone that could probably chill out, right? You know, doesn't have to pay for tickets to Christian Blackwood. You know what I'm saying? Just calm down a little
bit, mate.
But you do so much, right? And what I would like to know is, we see a lot about your mindset, which I absolutely love. I love how you think. I love what you do. The messages you put out to the world, I think is absolutely beautiful, right? But I want to know, how do you balance that? Like, how do you do as much as you do and more? Like, this is an extra, for example, because Dan was an absolute brave soldier that could put his hand up and ask this, right?
One as well.
Yeah, that was brave. But how do you balance everything in your life and remain as humble as you are while not even drinking anything like alcohol or anything? Bro, like, that's what I'm saying.
How do you do this sober?
How do you do this sober? Which I want to touch on once you've answered that question for sure.
I don't know if I am balancing everything. I do a lot. People saying on the way here, I'm getting better at doing less. Still doing too much, but I'm getting better at saying no.
Good.
For a long time, I had a couple of crashes over the last couple of years. Crashes in terms of, not physical crashes, but crashes in terms of just hitting a wall, just doing too much. Just like, okay, I'm struggling, and just really hit a wall. I was like, this is not good. This can't continue. And the result of that is not only my own health, it's are you doing the best job you can do for the people you're working with?
Mm.
Do you know what I mean? So if you're spreading yourself too thinly, not only is that bad for you, but actually, are they, the ones you're doing stuff with, are they getting maximum value out of you? And the answer probably for many of them was no. So I try to practice the art of saying no and turning things down, which is hard for me because I like being busy. I enjoy many things. I like people. I like doing new things, and I'm lucky that people present me with lots of good opportunities. So to say, that's really interesting, but I just can't do that this time. It's hard for me, but I'm getting better at it. But I guess I just believe that, if you do good things and you treat people well, this one might not be for you, but the next one will come around again. Things will come to you, and I'm seeing that in the last kind of 18 months. I'm seeing things just pop up randomly. Oh, I saw you on LinkedIn. Can you do this thing for me? Oh, I saw you speak on Dan's podcast. Can you do this thing for me? Oh, I saw you. Things just happen when you kind of move. You move with good intentions and good spirit in your heart, and you try and do good by people. I'm a big believer in the saying, the luckiest people in life are the most hardworking people in life. Because if you work hard, you get the breaks.
Yeah.
And sometimes you don't even see them coming. You just get the breaks. And the people that are lazy and the people that don't put in the work wonder why they don't get any breaks, because luck is a thing you can't calculate, or it's not tangible. It's just luck is a inimitable force that I think just happens when the energies are correct. And people generally that get the luck are the ones that generally work the hardest. So I think I'm getting better at balancing all the things that I do. I've just got a kind of mantra of one life. One life, do you know what I mean? And, just ride it till the wheels come off, just smash it, rinse it. And there'll be bumps, there'll be times you fall off, there'll be times you mess up. Again, on the way here, we're talking about a job that my production company has got that I worked hard to get this gig, and they gave us a gig, and there's one thing. When does this come out, by the way? When is this out? Next week. Okay. So I think we'll have signed it off by then. And there was one small error that I think I would have spotted if I was doing less things, because I'm doing so many things. You get oversights happen. So that's a lesson for me. A reminder for me. Doing too many things will result in mistakes, errors. But to answer your question, I guess properly, I try to just be organized. I'm not very good at being organized. I had a PA for a couple of years. Now I'm PA-less again, and it's about being disciplined. These are the podcasts I've got to record this week. This is the lecture I've got to do and prepare for. These are my Channel 4 days, and I've got to pitch this idea and do this. This is me going to the gym and the sauna, where I've got to do that. This I'm doing a visit at a school in Lincoln, and I try and just, things move and budge and whatever. Yeah. But generally, I try to kind of like, these are the pillars of my week and stick to it. And it's busy. No day for me is quiet. They're all different, but I wouldn't change it. I like the fact that every day is different. I like the fact that I get to speak to you guys and reach new audiences and hear the feedback from people. Do you know what I mean? So it's not always easy, but I'm very, very determined to get stuff done. And that means sometimes you have to just kind of bite the bullet and do a lot. Do you know what I mean?
I like the answer. I mean, it's true. They always say the people that make it are the ones that are working when people are asleep or working when people don't want to. But so for example, you're about to go do like a Channel 4, like one of the pillars of your week, right? You've got to go do it, but you're not feeling up to it in the slightest. How do you psych yourself up to do that though? Doesn't matter how motivated you can be sometimes. Like sometimes you're like, I can't do this right now, but you still go do it.
I don't know if I ever have that feeling,
Really? Okay.
I don't ever have that kind of, I mean, I might be having to cover a story that I'm not particularly in love with, but it's a sports story, so you got to get your bum out there and cover it. Fine, I'll do it. It's my job.
Is it because you love it though? Are you doing because you're doing a job that you love?
I think so.
It's probably that, right?
I think so. I think I'm very lucky in that. I heard something yesterday actually that only 3 or 4% of people are doing their dream job.
That's sad, man.
So many people are doing a job that they like or don't, or, are content with.
Yeah.
But in terms of your dream job, only 4% of people are doing their dream job. And that's for many reasons. One is laziness. One is lack of ambition. One is you might have 2 kids and be a single parent and you can't quit your job at Sainsbury's or as a cleaner or as in a call center because you've got bills to pay. So chasing your dream job isn't something that you can practically do right now. So there are different reasons for why people aren't doing their dream job. But I very rarely wake up and I'm like, oh, very rarely, because
That's lucky, man.
even if it's a hard job, even if it's a job that I know I've got to get right, or it's a production for my video production company, or if it's an interview with Chris or you, and I know I might feel right, game face on, I've got to really nail this, but I never feel like, oh, I've got to do this. Like lecturing with Dan sometimes is a bit like...
A bit of a baller, yeah. I was going to say,
I could
surely
see
that
that
is.
one coming.
Yeah,
I could see that coming.
I'm like, all right, Dan, how you doing?
Yeah, well, good to see you, I guess. Like, what a burden.
But apart from that,
everything's good.
everything's great.
Going off of that, the last part of what you touched on was the alcohol. Is that a personal choice that you don't drink?
Yes.
And why?
So I stopped drinking in 2016. And I remember it when I decided I was going to do it. I was in Rio at the Olympics in 2016, yeah. And it was in a bar after like day 4 or 5 of being out there and covering the games. And it was a great games. Brazil's insane. And I think after almost every night, not every night, but after almost every night, me and the production crew and some people I know out there from other networks, we just would link up and be like, right, when in Rio. And there was this one night we went to this place and the only drinks they had on offer were beer, cachaça. Cachaça's like we treat it like a shot. It's like a rum, but they treat it like a drink. So I think they kind of sip it.
Mental.
But I kind of just shotted it. But it's like a real traditional cachaça. And then the third one is like cocktails. And I was like, well, I don't drink beer, don't like beer. I've had cachaças all week, like, you know, I'm over it now. I mean, can't have any more. I like cocktail, but I don't fancy a cocktail. And it just dawned on me then. It's like, you know what? I don't like alcohol. Don't actually like alcohol. It kind of, why am I drinking this? And I was like, you know, when I get back to the UK, I'm going to just stop. And people always say to me, oh, why do you stop drinking alcohol? I want to stop. And I'm like, no, don't just stop because you feel that's the thing to do. Stop for a reason.
You want to, yeah.
Yeah, if you like beer, if you like wine, if you like vodka, then in moderation, drink it.
Stop it.
I just don't like the taste of alcohol. The only drink I like the taste of is dark rum. So like a special occasion, like a funeral or a wedding I might have like a one rum. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. I do like a good dark rum. So between 2016 and now, apart from one birthday party I had about 4 years ago where I did get smashed. But that wasn't my fault.
I don't drink, but 4 years ago.
People were forcing drinks on me.
He remembers it. So
Just about. Well. Take out that one night between 2016 and now, where is it? That's 9 years?
God, 2016. Yeah.
9 years. I've probably had 10 drinks.
Good on you, man.
10 drinks in 9 years. It's probably what I've had. So yeah, I mean, I say I don't drink, but it's super rare. I'll go out to a function and... Do
you feel like that's helped you in your work and your career?
You know what? The annoying thing is, no. Because
He's probably needed it in his work, right?
the reason why it hasn't helped me is because when I stopped, I thought, right, I need to lose a bit of weight still, need to lose a bit of weight, you know, great, it's gonna be great. And I stopped drinking, and then I was like, I'm not getting any benefits from not drinking. Like most of them stop drinking, their skin gets better, they lose a bit of weight, they save money. And I was a bit like, well, I wasn't drinking enough for the finances to be a big issue in the first place. I've not lost any weight. I've got good skin. I've always had good skin, so that's fine. So I was a bit like, I'm not getting any of the benefits of not drinking either, but it was fine. But the main reason I stopped drinking, beyond the taste, is I don't like beer, wine. I'm a bitch on hangovers. I'm an absolute bitch on hangovers.
Absolutely.
No one likes hangovers.
No.
But I'm an absolute bitch on hangovers. I just can't. I can't handle them.
I do feel that's probably the same. I can't lie.
And also, third reason was, I'm actually more fun sober. So when I'm drunk, I'm that guy that's drunk that we're all at a party in a club here. And I'll be the guy in the corner just on his own, just quiet. My friends know when I'm drunk. They'll be like,
he's in the corner again.
He's in the corner by himself.
He's just in the
Some drunks are loud and boisterous and like annoying. I'm the opposite. I'm just like in the corner, just like,
I want to go home now. I'm doing to go home.
I'm much more fun sober. So I was like, you know what? It's not a loss for me. Some people want to stop, but they can't. It's like, oh, I need the alcohol to kind of bring out my personality. For me, it wasn't an easy thing to stop. Sorry, it wasn't a hard thing for me to start. I just stopped. You know
So for a lot of people, they use kind of alcohol as for a confidence booster.
Stimulant, yeah.
Like you were saying.
I don't need it.
How did you build that confidence? Where does that come from?
I've always been confident, Dan. I've always been confident, man. My confidence comes from the fact that I know that I'm good at the things that I'm good at. Okay. So I will tell people happily, that thing there, yeah, I'm the best at it. Yeah, I'm the best at it. Yeah, I'm the best. Don't even step. Like, you can't come to me. This is, and then people think that's a bit arrogant. And I'm like, no, it's not arrogant, because the reason why it's not arrogant is because I always have the humility to be like, that thing over there,
Can't do that.
I'm awful.
Stay away.
I'm awful at that.
Yeah.
He's better at that than me. She's better. So I have that humility to recognize that I will tell you the thing that I'm good at and the best at. With chest, easy.
Yeah, it's better to have the belief, because if you don't believe in yourself, who's going to believe you, man?
And if it's fact, it's fact.
Yeah.
If I am the best in the room with that thing, then
you're the best.
I'm going to say it.
Yeah.
But I can also be like, you know what? No, I'm not very good at that. So let Susie or let Danny do that, because they're better. So I've always been confident, but never, in my opinion, never arrogant. Arrogance is when you think you're good at everything, and your energy makes people feel bad. So I'm saying I'm the best podcaster in this room, and you're not very good, and you're not very good because of X reason and Y reason and blah blah blah. That's arrogance.
Yeah.
And also if you can't back it up. I think I'm confident, and I've always been confident, because I'm not very good at many things, but the things that I am good at, I'm very good at.
I love that. I love that. You've got to have confidence and belief in yourself, though. Like I said, otherwise no one will. How are you going to come across like, yeah, I'm the best, and absolutely dog shit? Like, you can't do that. You've got to be like, no, I'm the best, and let me show you why I'm the best.
But you've got to back it up.
Yeah.
So it's one
If
thing
you
having the
can't back it up-
confidence to be like, I'm great at this.
Yeah.
But then when you're tested, can you back it up?
And that comes from the preparation. Right?
Yeah.
Be it
It's all prep.
doing the
Yeah.
work
It's all
beforehand and getting it all
It's
done.
all prep.
And
Yeah.
I think that's why, like, in the lectures that you're giving me and everyone else in the class, it's like, it's portraying that I put the hard work in and dedicate yourself to something and fail now.
Yeah.
Fail now. So then you learn the lessons, you get better over time. And then when you're ready to go for the big tests and the big boys and the big leagues, you're ready.
It's not even fail now. I was saying to you guys, fail fast. Fail fast. The quicker you can fail, the quicker you will learn. The quicker you will learn, the better you will get. The better you will get, the more confident you will get. I said to you guys again today, confidence comes from knowing you're very good at the thing that you're doing. And you might only be very good at one thing. That's fine. You only need to be very, very good at one thing. No one's good at everything. Do you know what I mean? So if you fail fast, you learn lessons quicker. And I think to fail fast, you've got to do stuff. So if you want to be a great, a podcaster or be great presenters, you got to do these episodes quick, bang them out. So again, on the way he was chatting about the fact that there was an incident, I think it was last week, when there was a sound issue. We've all had that. The quicker you know that, the quicker you know, right, that messed up. It burns. You might have had a good episode and you missed out on the episode. Cool. But then now you know, right, next time we're double checking the audio.
Like today.
And that would never happen again. Last week it burned and you might have lost a good episode. Cool. But if you've got to miss out on one great episode to never miss out on another episode for the rest of your life, it's worth it.
Easy exchange.
It's worth it.
Yeah.
Well, I think we're going to end with our final. We got 2 questions.
Go for it.
One each. But first of all, I just want to say thank you for coming on today.
Thanks for having me, mate.
It's been really cool. For anyone who doesn't know, I'm at university and Jordan's my lecturer, and the first time he comes in, he's giving us all this speech, this motivational speech about seizing opportunities, and if you see something, you've got to grab it, and you're in competition with everyone, right? I'm sitting there, grin on my face. I know what I'm going to do.
I'm having him. When it finishes, I'm having him.
And I put my hand up and I just said, Speaking of that, would you want to come on the podcast?
Oh,
And
legendary.
I was so nervous to do that.
Oh yeah, sorry to cut you there. It wasn't even the end. It was during the class.
Yeah,
I remember now. It wasn't. Yeah, I thought it was the end. No, it was during the class. I was like, yeah, fair play. Sorry.
What did you think of that when I did that?
I love it, man. I keep saying to you guys, I don't have to be there, right? Money ain't great. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. I don't have to be there, but I'm there because I want to help. So use me. All I can say is no.
Yeah.
All I can say is no.
Yeah.
But ask.
I'm
there to help you guys. So if me coming on your podcast and talking to you guys and having a chat with you guys helps your presenting, helps your podcast, whatever, then listen, it's a couple of hours out of my evening. It's not a massive inconvenience, and I want to help people. So it wasn't an issue to me. What was my response to you?
You said I've got to turn up to the next 4 lectures in a row, and then you'll do it.
Which I kept on his case. I was like, you better go. If you don't, I'm dragging your ass. No, you do. Yeah, I don't care.
Get your ass.
Get in now, boom. I set reminders. Every week I was like, you're getting a picture. I don't care. I'll actually dress up as you, bro, and I'll go myself.
That's a real friend.
Oh, I know. That's a real friend.
No, because like we've seen such like what you do online, and I just think you come across as such a beautiful soul and a beautiful person.
Oh, that's very kind, man.
And to get an opportunity to be with you right now, sitting on this chair, chatting, cameras or no cameras, is an absolute honour.
The pleasure is all mine.
You know?
Pleasure is all mine.
So let's wrap it up with these questions. Dan, go on. As it's your podcast, you can go first. We've got some time to bangers.
When it's all said and done, what do you, Jordan Jarrett-Bryan, want to be remembered for? And what do you have to do to achieve that?
Clogs are turning. You just see it.
What do I want to be remembered for? I just want to be remembered, Dan, as someone that made an impact. Do you know what I mean? I think that should be all of our targets. You know, we're not going to be here forever. We're not going to be here for very long. When you think about this grand scheme of life and the history of the world, we're here for what, 60, 70, 80 years? It's not a long time when you think about, the whole spectrum of the world. And I'm 42 now, 42 this year. So you know, I'm possibly halfway through that, maybe less, but who knows? So if we can all make an impact, if I can make an impact, then that will be a legacy that I'll be happy to have. I mean, whilst we're here, I think we're here to serve. I'm not religious, but we're here to serve. You know, we're here to help each other. Some of us have more than others. I don't mean financially or in terms of material things. I just mean in terms of confidence. I've always said, like, I do talks in schools and colleges and unis as well. And I always say to people, I want to use my confidence to inspire other people to tap into their confidence and what they're good at. Lots of people are talented at many things. They don't want the confidence to kind of either fulfill it or shout about it. So I'm like, I'll shout about it for you. You know what I mean? Because that's something that's really, really important to me. So if I can, I've got a tool. My tool is my confidence. I've got other tools. My main tool is confidence. Confidence can get you a long way. It can get you a long, long way. So if I can use my confidence, not only to get my foot in the door, I'm in. I'm already in. So now it's about, okay, how do we get other people in? How do we not pull up the ladder? How do we make sure other people that have done the work, have the talent, can join this party as well? So to answer your question, I think it's impact. If I can make someone smile, someone feel good, someone feel like, yeah, I want to be a reporter. I want to be a journalist. I want to do a podcast. I want to set up a YouTube channel. I want to interview Conor, Benn. All these things. If my impact is that I've triggered that in you, that's a win for me, man.
That's a beautiful answer. Everything that you know now, everything that you've experienced now within your life, if you could go back and flash back to your younger self, what advice would you have given to yourself knowing what you know now?
So I'll give you the play ball answer, and then I'll give you the honest answer. The honest answer is that those questions I find it interesting in as far as I probably wouldn't change anything because, and it's a bit cliche for sure, but everything you've gone through has made you the person you are right now. So if I took that bit out, would that have happened that led to that led to this, that led to that led to this? Maybe, maybe not. So it's always difficult to kind of pick out or take out or change things that have happened in your life, because I do believe things happen for a reason. But the play ball answer would be, I wish I would have, and this might be hard to believe, doubled down and believed in myself earlier on things that I started. I think there's a couple of examples of things where I did them and I reaped the benefits from them later on. But if I'd have just owned it a bit more earlier on, I'd have seen better and quicker results in that. Believe in yourself. You've got to back yourself. Especially in our industry, you've got to believe that you've got something to say, something to offer, something to give. And if your podcast or if your show or if your whatever it may be, even beyond media, you believe you can do that very, very well, you got to just back yourself. Because like you said earlier on, no one's going to believe in you like you're going to believe in yourself. And if you fail, you fail. I've lost a lot of money for my business for trying things that didn't quite work out. I've made a lot of money, but you got to try things. But I would say I would probably back, if I could change anything, there was probably a handful of things where I'm like, that you didn't Jordan it.
Didn't Jordan
it. You know what I mean? You kind of bottled it and you kind of fumbled through it. You didn't Jordan it. And if I'd have from the get-go just been like, no F's given, I'm going in, I'm doing this is happening. And if it blows up in flames and so be it, I would have seen better and quicker results, I think. So that would be something that I would, on a general basis, I can't think of any kind of single things. Because I've generally, this might sound crazy, I can't think of any genuine regret. There's things that I didn't do very well. There's things that I messed up on. There's things that I dropped the ball on, but I wouldn't change those things. Regrets are like, I think I have a really high bar for regrets. There's one personal thing that I won't mention that I probably would say was a regret. But apart from that, mistakes, I've made mistakes. I've done things that I'm not particularly wasn't proud of that or shouldn't have done that. But I wouldn't change them. Do you know what I mean?
Because you learn from them too, innit?
You learn from them, yeah. And even if I did that same mistake 2 or 3 times, the 4th time I learned. Do you know what I mean?
It doesn't matter how many times you fall, as long as you get back up and try again.
There you go.
It counts. And I guess we all want to grow up and grow old and go, I don't have any regrets because I've done everything that I did. And even if it's trying, say you don't even get as far as you wanted to with your dreams.
You tried.
That's all you can do.
And I think, so I'm going well over your time now, but I think it's really important that you don't live in regrets. You know, I think I speak for me. I live on the basis of good intentions, treat people as you want to be treated, drink lots of water, get sleep, get what sleep you can, support Arsenal, and life will be fine. You know what I mean?
I'm not even a football fan, but you had to say that, fuck's sake.
You know what I mean? But the first one's the most important one. Good intentions.
Yes.
Every day I wake up, ask, how can I do good by me and by everybody? That sounds really pithy and a bit airy-fairy.
True.
How can I do good? How can I contribute? How can I add value to the world? So I've got a lot to give and I want to give it. So yeah. Just before we go though, can I just briefly mention my podcast?
Yes,
absolutely. Yeah.
Super, just for your listeners and viewers. My first podcast I have is called Whisper It Loudly. I do it with Darren Lewis and Hugh Wizencroft, 2 fellow sports broadcasters and presenters. The Mirror, Talk Sport, Sky, ITV, great guys.
Cool.
We call it a sports society podcast. So half the podcast is chatting about sport. The other half is talking about current affairs, politics, entertainment, bit of foolishness, and things that affect us and we want to talk about. So that's on YouTube and on all podcast outlets. Cool. And I set up my own podcast about 2 months ago called Jordan Jarrett-Bryan's The Coolest Disabled in the World.
I love this, by the way. Absolutely love this.
Thank you, man. This was inspired by the fact that I didn't see any content out there for disabled people. And for those that don't know, I've got a disability. I've got a below-the-knee amputee. And I just felt that it was just a group in society that were not being served. I felt like Black people had content that served them. I felt like women had content that served them. I felt like, I don't know, people in the LGBTQ community, there's content for those groups, but there's no content for disabled people. So I just thought, well, the credibility comes from the fact that I'm disabled, tick. The experience of interviewing, doing podcasts and production, I've got that, tick. And the accessibility to the people in this community, I have that too, tick. So I just thought, well, why don't you just do a podcast? And just briefly, it's basically kind of twofold. The name is tongue in cheek, going back to confidence. Coolness is a bit of a euphemism for confidence. So there's a lot of disabled people that are doing some amazingly interesting things, but don't shout about it because they've been told, oh, there's a perception they're not cool. And I'm like, I'm the coolest in the world, right? But you're cool too.
Yeah.
You're
I
so
like
that.
that.
If you don't shout about it, I'll shout about it for you.
There you go.
I love it.
So cool.
Partially that, and the other half is pushing the boundaries of conversation that disabled people don't have.
Yeah.
So we talk about sex and dating and relationships. We hear black people talk about that. Women talk about that. Everyone, gay people. So why not disabled people?
Yeah.
Why these things? We have sex too. Do you know what I mean? Acquiring disability. All these elements that are interesting. And finally, it's not just for people who are disabled. We've got lots of listeners who are people who I call disability experience or disabled experience, which basically means I'm not disabled, but I have a child who is. Well, I'm not disabled. My best friend of 30 years is. Do you know what I mean? So it's like I'm not disabled, but I've got understanding of
what it's
disability.
like,
I'm a doctor that amputates legs. I'm not disabled, but I have an understanding of that work. So it's for everybody. Check it out. Again, it's on YouTube. Go give it a subscription, share, like all that goodness.
100%.
Honestly,
like,
it's been an amazing episode, Jordan. Thank you.
I enjoyed that. Thank you very much
for coming on. Like, we could have gone on for hours.
I wish
can't
we
lie.
could.
I had more
man.
to say, but you know,
There's so much more.
There's
Like,
so
we
much.
didn't even follow half of our plan, to be honest.
We didn't.
they're the best podcasts. They're the best podcasts.
It's the more natural ones.
Yeah, yeah,
That's what we want it to always be.
you go.
Just a natural conversation.
And I'll come back if you have me. I'll come back.
Oh,
All right, actually, on the episode, I'm going to do what Dan did. Oh, Jordan. Were you coming for number 2?
Pitch was higher than that. So
yeah, go on.
Can you come on for another podcast?
I would.
Yeah, please. We would love to get you back on
I'd be
again.
delighted.
All right, say to the camera, I'm going to come back on for another episode.
It's the legally binding contract on camera. I promise I'll come back on the podcast.
Oh,
It's unbelievable. Well, thank you again. Thank
you
you
for
so
your
much for
time,
coming
man.
on.
Thanks for having me,
It's
man.
been an amazing. Guys, please sure to check Jordan out. We'll leave all the links in the description.
Love.
That's the end.
go
Thank
show
you
this man
very
some
much.
love. Go show it all. And
Yeah.
thank you for coming.
See you on the next episode.
Love,
Take
guys.
care.
Love.
Stay
Big up. Like I promised.
Absolutely class.
did.
I promised and
You kept your
I
promise.
did.
You kept it to your word.
Well, to be fair, I did say you got to do 5 classes.
Actually, you said
9?
three. You said
You said 3, yeah.
Did I say 3?
Go like, I said 3 reminders. I remember this.
The story's
That
been
actually
changing
was
in my head.
3, Jordan.
I did overtime, you know, like.